Hi guys, so we're here at Johannesburg. So my husband brought me in zoo in Johannesburg. So let's find out what animals is here.
Like one, like straight down. Okay, there we go. That's it. Tell her we're not too worried because we're probably going to be here until next year anyway.
Okay.
Just tell her that. We're not in a massive rush to sell. Hi guys, Joe and Grace. We're back again. Today we're going to be talking about a trip that we made up last week. We went to a Chinese Expo. And the reason behind this was we were looking to see if we could find anything that we could perhaps put online or we could purchase and market locally or here in South Africa. So basically we were just looking at what was on offer. And so this huge Chinese Expo that was held in Johannesburg was obviously the ideal place to go, because other than flying all the way to one of these big cities in China, this was the only way that we could kind of get in touch with the traders and those people that are manufacturers and who are trying to market it throughout the world. So this was an ideal, and we've been waiting for this expo for what, about 2 or 3 months, eh? So we made the booking because it's a long way. It's up in Johannesburg, which is almost 1,000 kilometers. And my son was here visiting, so we were going to go travel because we thought we'll just drive up there. Because over and above seeing that, I also wanted to go to a place that I have good fond memories of when my grandfather was alive. And as a young boy, we used to go there maybe 2 or 3 times a year to visit my grandparents. And this place is like in the middle of nowhere. It's a little village called 𝗙𝗶𝗹𝗶𝗽𝗶. Now I was just wondering, after all these years, like 50 years later, would these memories still be the same? Would they have changed? Now, what in 𝗙𝗶𝗹𝗶𝗽𝗶 had changed? So that's the reason we decided not to fly up to the capital, Johannesburg, but we decided to drive. So basically it took us the whole day to drive up there. And we were stopped a number of times, weren't we, by the traffic, because it's on like a national rail road, which is taxed. It's got tolls on, and the traffic guys love to just hang around the toll areas and pull people over. And I was pulled over 4 times. Now, in my whole life, I don't think I've ever been pulled over. Maybe once. So to be pulled over 4 times on one trip was quite unbelievable. And the funny part about it is I never had my driver's license. So that was a big no-no, because you're not supposed to drive in this country if you don't have a driver's license. Now, for some reason, I just never put my driver's license into my wallet.
Yeah.
So I had to talk my way out of it. So obviously the first time I thought, oh goodness, I've managed to do it. But to be stopped 4 times thereafter. And one of the time I was actually stopped because I overtook a truck that was very, very slow. And he had pulled over and I overtook him. And they said there was a white line. But basically this truck had stopped. But they pulled me over. So not only was I being pulled over for an offense, but I was also being pulled over for, and now it turns out I didn't even have my license. So that's another one I had to talk myself out of. So 4 times I was stopped. Unfortunately, 4 times they just let me go on. So that was quite fortunate. So we made this trip up to Johannesburg. We got there late. We went into the hotel, and guess what? There was a mix-up with the booking. The hotel was full, and all they could give us was a family room, which was terrible because it meant all 3 of us had to sleep in the same room. So I had to decide what to do. Are we just going to just look for another hotel. But anyway, we ended up staying there. It wasn't too bad, but it wasn't great. So the very next day, we went to this Chinese Expo, and it's quite a difficult. Johannesburg is a big place, it's a big city, so we had to go and try and find out where it was. We did find it, and we went in, and we had already got our tickets and everything, so that was fine. But what was very disappointing was, although this was a huge expo, it took up 3 buildings. The fact is, inside, there was nothing, was there? It was so disappointing. I mean, I've been to many expos in South Africa and also in the UK, and there's always something there that you can find and you can use and you can benefit from. But this particular expo was just a lot of rubbish. I know what's going on in China. There's a lot of problems presently, but you can see why there's a lot of problems because of the way they've organized themselves worldwide. Because they put on this huge expo where they tell everybody to come, but when you get there, there's absolutely nothing to buy. The stuff they had there was just stuff that's just readily available everywhere in South Africa, for instance. And there was absolutely no new products, even nobody even to talk to properly. What they were doing, they were just having, like for instance, you would have 5 or 6 stalls, and all they're selling is cigarette lighters. And they've just put thousands of cigarette lighters, and that's it. So it was really disappointing. There was absolutely nothing to see there. It was stuff that's all readily available anyway, and nothing new. So that was a disappointment. We had waited so long for it. We had specifically come all this way to see that. I wanted to go there with my son as well because I'm trying to encourage him to get into business as well. But there was absolutely nothing to see, so that was a disappointment. But going up to Joburg was nice because obviously it's a big city, and just driving around, just showing Grace what it looks like. It looks. I mean, she kept on saying, "Oh, this is like Manila." So yeah, and it is. It's a big city like Manila. We had a nice meal, didn't we, that evening? Me and you, we went out just by ourselves. I think you had some chicken. I had a nice piece of steak. So that was a nice evening. The next day, we were not sure what we were going to do. So we had family there that we thought we might go and visit. At the end of the day, we decided to go to the zoo. And we got to the zoo, and that was quite nice, wasn't it? It actually made up for a lot of the mess up of the actual expo. So we went in. We didn't have many hours because now we were this was the second day. So now we were going to be traveling back as well. And we were going to be traveling back via this place. It was a bit of a detour. In fact, it was a long detour, like another 300 kilometers detour. So we only had about 3 hours. So we decided, well, let's go to the zoo. So we went to the zoo, and what did you think about the zoo, Grace?
It's normal. Full of animals.
Full of animals, yeah. So we did that. We hired, because of the time, we hired one of the golf carts, and we just traveled around, and we saw. So, what are some of the animals that impressed you there?
The squirrel, rhino.
Yeah, so I think that's the first time you've seen rhino, eh?
Yeah.
Because you haven't seen it on the safaris I've taken you on. So you saw some rhino there. You had a bit of an interaction with those ostriches. I mean, she's quite crazy, putting her hand in an ostrich's mouth. I don't think I would have done that. What did it feel like?
Nothing.
Is it? They were just clapping on your hand.
That's it.
Okay. I think you also saw the wild dog.
Yeah, wild dog.
It was a bit upsetting because they were cutting down trees, and this was upsetting this wild dog. So he was running up and down and all around. But at least he was active and we could see him. And that's generally a problem when you go to a zoo, because when you look into some of these cages, it's hard to photograph what you see because they're in the shadows. And we noticed that with a lot of the birds. We saw the birds and they were quite difficult to even see with your eyes. But when you try to focus in on with a camera, it was just impossible because of the sunlight versus the shadow. But we saw lots of different birds. And your favorites, which are?
Forget.
Flamingos.
Yeah, flamingos.
Yeah. She wanted to see these flamingos. They weren't the pink ones, because I kept on, when I've been there before, that the pink ones were there, but these were more pretty much white. So I don't know for what reason. These were just white ones, but at least you saw what you've been wanting to see, hey?
Yeah.
She actually wants me to take her to a place in the Cape where they actually are in the wild on a huge lake. But that's like about 900 kilometers away, so it's quite a drive. So when we go to Cape Town one day, or when we go up to maybe Namibia, that's the way to go, and that's when you go and see it. It's a place near Kimberley.
Yeah.
All right. So we saw those animals. We saw elephants.
Camels.
We saw some camels. We saw some wolves.
Yeah.
Once again, they were so hard to see because they were in a cage and they were behind glass. And as soon as you try and video that, it's the reflection of the glass. But that wolves had some pups, didn't they?
Yeah.
So they were really good to see. What else did we enjoy? But we enjoyed the ride.
Lion.
You saw the lions.
Crocodiles.
Crocodiles.
And that African civet.
It was
Jackal.
the civet and what, the 𝗃𝗲𝗿𝗀. There's another cat called a 𝗃𝗃𝗿, I think.
And also that
You wanted to bring it home, didn't you?
that cute fox.
Fox with the big ears.
Yeah.
I think it was a desert fox, eh? Yeah, so, the animals. Really, what you needed, we only had basically 3 hours there, of which 1 hour we were using the cart. But you need nearly a day.
Yeah.
And they had an educational program going, so all the school kids were there, which was nice to see because, at least they're getting the benefit of a zoo. Because many people don't like zoos, because I suppose it can't be nice for an animal to be in a cage, could it be? But, at least from an educational point of view, these young kids can see these animals that normally they would never see. Because, they're hard to see. And to go and see them in their natural habitat is very expensive. And most of them can't afford to do that. So the zoos do kind of provide a service, even if it is at the detriment of the animals. But if they're educating the people, and the people start loving the animals, it will benefit animals overall. I think that's the kind of thinking behind it.
Yeah.
And the cages, in many ways and cases, were nice and big. They were well looked after. It looked like.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, anyway. So that was really good fun to see. And then you had a chance to drive, didn't you? Because Grace has actually been bugging me, saying she wants to get a driver's license and she wants to drive the car. She wants to. But have a look at this, people. Friends, just think. Do you think I would ever be able to let Grace in front of my car, drive my car? When you see the way she drove that buggy. Nah, I'm just joking. You did well. You enjoyed it, eh?
Yeah.
I think next time you need the full hour to master that, not just 5 minutes, eh? All right. So when we left there, we did do this detour, and we went all the way to 𝗃𝗃𝗿𝗃.
Yeah.
And the traffic was quite bad.
Yeah.
That's on. you go past an area where there's a lot of the where they're doing the fire stations, not fire stations, where they do the electricity.
Yeah.
So the big power plants. And obviously to feed those big power plants, they're bringing in truck after truck after truck of coal. So we were behind those trucks, we were being pushed by those trucks, guys that drive those trucks, absolute maniacs, very dangerous
Yeah.
part of the world to travel in. But eventually we got there. And I was expecting to see, after 50 years, I was expecting to see some progress. Some houses, new establishments, new
Yeah.
shops, maybe a mall. But you know what, guys? There was not one. Yes, there was one. There was one little public building that was built. But over and above that, that place has stood and in a bubble. I just couldn't believe it. Just like I remember as a 5-year-old kid, my grandfather's house. And in fact, I went to the house and I knocked on the door and asked the person if we could come in and have a look at this property. And they let us in.
Yeah.
And that was amazing, for them to let us in. And funny enough, that house is on the market. It's on the market for, like she said, 1.2 million. Honestly, it's in the back of nowhere. There's been no progress for 50 years. And yet they're asking such a high price for that property. It's an old building, and nothing has changed since I can remember it. So I would be hard put to even give them 100,000 for it, because nothing is going to change in the next 50 years. That's for sure. So that was all very interesting. So we're going to show you a few of those things, and just to show what we've been doing, and what Grace has been seeing. So she's seen quite a bit of the countryside because she's already driven almost 1,500 kilometers, of the roads. So it's very flat. What do you think to it? It's got mountains. It's got some forests. What else has it got?
Beach.
Hmm?
Ocean.
Yeah. Well, you think about this, but what about inland, where I took you to? Because it's called the Platteland, actually. So it's like rolling hills.
Yeah.
It's farmland, and it's pretty much the same wherever you go. But it's not tropical like what you used to, with the coconut trees everywhere. So that was quite something. Anyway, guys, so if you've enjoyed this, just give us a thumbs up, please.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
Push the notification bell.
Mhm.
Share. Comments.
Yeah, give us some comments. Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
What
And
you'd like
then
us to show you.
click our link.
Have a look at the other ones that we are putting on every day. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Till tomorrow. Keep
Bye.
Bye.